Exam prep questions. 1. American tolerance for the homeless dilemma is waning, though no one desires to be homeless, and no one begs, because it amuses them. Being homeless is degrading and robs a person's self-respect. Although the government has implemented programs that increase opportunities for people to get housing, those programs usually profit only a small sector of the population. Furthermore, because the poor are often discriminated against within these programs, they usually have no choice but to live in shoddy housing that quickly becomes derelict and uninhabitable, thus creating a yet larger homeless population when these people must move out onto the streets. However, the government's housing policies seem unfair and inequitable, and without a place to call home, these disenfranchised Americans do not have access to the most basic rights, such as the right to vote, the right to privacy, the right to family integrity, and the right to liberty itself. The main idea of this paragraph is: A. Government makes people homeless. B. Current housing policies are inequitable and ineffective. C. Americans should be more tolerant of the homeless. D. The homeless should have more liberties. 2. Contrary to popular belief, modern-day homesteaders tend to be well-educated people from city and suburban areas who have decided to revolt against their urban existence. Usually, these homesteaders are middle-aged and have spent a significant portion of their adult lives in the country, whether at summer houses, getaway cabins, or otherwise vacationing or escaping from the stresses of everyday life. Because they are well-educated, most of these new pioneers have well-reasoned rationalizations for choosing their alternative lifestyle. However, they aren't ideological, nor are they purists, and they fully realize that their survival in the country depends on a substantial practicality. The modern homesteader's role in this new separation movement seems to oppose the ideals of urban America and its corporate and industrial mindset, and can best be defined as almost revolutionary or radical in concept. According to the paragraph, modern-day homesteaders are: A. Young and idealistic. B. Raised in the country. C. Not well educated. D. Middle-aged and pragmatic. 3. In light of the induction of the North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, the question that lingers in most Americans' minds today is why American industry can't compete with foreign markets, and why American jobs are crossing the borders to our neighbors' financial benefit. Americans as a whole have seen a marked increase not only in manufacturing jobs, but also in the quantity of American products available on the market. And our overall manufacturing quality has improved. Even our foreign competitors recognize these points. But the fact remains that Americans can't compete on the global market, and by all indications, we will continue to diminish in that capacity. The bottom line is that American workers cannot produce a product of like quality as cost-effectively as most of our foreign competitors. American workers have a higher standard of living, including better living conditions, cars, and necessary amenities such as health insurance that requires them to be paid more than offshore workers, who, in most cases, make less than $1 an hour. There is no technological advantage to either side, because both sides of the market have the same quality of machinery and use the same technology. There's no quantity or production rate advantage to either side, because a steel worker in Pittsburgh can work as effectively as a steel worker in China, and a seamstress in Mississippi can sew at the same speed as a seamstress in the Philippines. The cost of labor is the only advantage that our foreign competitors have. For an American manufacturer to see the same bottom line as a foreign competitor, his workers must produce at a rate of 5 times that of their overseas equal. According to this paragraph, which aspect of manufacturing does not occur equitably on both sides of foreign trade? A. Labor costs. B. Machinery and technology. C. Manufacturing quality. D. Ability of workers. 4. When James Madison drafted the First Amendment, His intent and purpose was not only to allow the press to question the actions and motives of our elected officials, but also to limit the powers of Congress in restraining that free speech. Those limitations applied only to Congress and did not extend to the individual states. The drafters' intention was to bring the powers of Congress to bear so that they could not make any laws that infringed upon freedoms of speech and press. The focus was not that freedom of speech should be prized inordinately, but that the powers of Congress should be limited, lest they deem it necessary to squelch all forms of political criticism. The salient point of the First Amendment was that it protected the independence of the legislature at the state level while curtailing congressional jurisdiction and imposition on a national level. According to this paragraph, what was the original purpose of the First Amendment? A. To guarantee Americans free expression, regardless of the consequences. B. To control Congress's authority over the states. C. To endorse a free press. D. To make Congress more powerful. 5. The girl tossed restlessly in her bed. How she wished that she could once again run in the bright sunlight, feel the wind upon her face, hear the birds sing their gay, lilting notes. Outside, she heard the voices of the other children, laughing gleefully at some game. If she closed her eyes, she could see them: Jan, Lily, Pete, Michael, and she was forgotten by them all. She looked spitefully at the flowers on the bureau, hating the drawings and cards strewn about her room. She kicked at her blankets with all the force she could muster from her weak legs, and thought to herself, maybe someday. According to this passage, what can we infer about the condition of the girl? A. That she was grounded to her room. B. That she had a slight cold. C. That she had been ill for a long time. D. That she didn't want to play with the other children. 6. Mrs. Jennings was so far from being weary of her guests that she pressed them very earnestly to return with her again from Cleveland. Eleanor was grateful for the attention, but it could not alter their design, and their mother's concurrence being readily gained, everything relative to their return was arranged as far as it could be. Jane Austen. In the paragraph, what is the meaning of the term design? A. Desires. B. Way of living. C. Particular purpose. D. An artistic pattern. 7. I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life, and see if I could not learn what it had to teach, and not, when I came to die, discover that I had not lived. I did not wish to live what was not life, living is so dear, nor did I wish to practice resignation, unless it was quite necessary. I wanted to live deep and suck out all the marrow of life, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like as to put to rout all that was not life, to cut a broad swath and shave close, to drive life into a corner and reduce it to its lowest terms, and if it proved to be mean, why then to get the whole and genuine meanness of it, and publish its meanness to the world, or if it were sublime, to know it by experience, and be able to give a true account of it in my next excursion. H. D. Thoreau. In the passage, what does Thoreau not desire from his life in the country? A. To live deliberately. B. To live deep. C. To have wealth. D. To reduce life to its lowest terms. 8. Cisco Systems Incorporated and the FBI are investigating the theft of portions of the core source code that runs Cisco's networking gear. Source code is the raw software that interacts with computer hardware, of particular interest to hackers, who can use it to find security weaknesses to exploit networks. The source code is part of the company's Internetwork Operating System, iOS, that runs the Cisco-built hardware that composes much of the Internet backbone. It consists of millions of lines of source code, and there are hundreds of versions of it in existence. However, Cisco is not sure which version of the software was stolen. A Russian website, Security Lab. RU posted some of the code online, but the culprit of the theft is still unknown. The code theft might be serious, resulting in new security problems, or the missing code may not contain any significant vulnerabilities. What is the main idea of the paragraph? A. Cisco source code runs the backbone of the Internet. B. Cisco source code was stolen. C. Source code will open vulnerabilities to hackers. D. Source code contains millions of lines of code. 9. During his years at Stanford, Richard Rodriguez gained special insight, which he records in his autobiography, Hunger of Memory. He relates one remarkable impression that he gained during his time lecturing in ghetto high schools. In this passage, he talks about the attitude displayed by the students in these schools. In particular, he notes the remarkable style and physical grace that these students exude, pointing out that he has seen more dandies in ghetto schools than he had ever found inside middle-class high schools. He also observed that these students do not carry the attitude of casual assurance that is prevalent at Stanford. In his estimation, the ghetto girls seem to mimic high fashion models, wearing dresses of bold, forceful color, accentuating figures that are elegant and long, that pose with an almost theatrical stance. 2. He notes that the boys wear shirts that fit tightly against their muscular bodies, and by their own show of physical strength, they display images of strength in contrast to their own powerless future. Because of their youth, the effects of years of bad nutrition do not show, neither does the bitterness and jaded outlook of great disappointment tell in them, for to realize such is fatal to their youthful exuberance. For now, they are absorbed in their own youth, their movements are confident, smooth, and dance-like, and their attitudes are of strength and hope. What can you infer about the students in the ghetto high school? A. That ghetto students have good physiques. B. That ghetto students want to disguise their poverty by their dress. C. That ghetto girls like bold colors. D. That poverty cannot quench personal pride and zest for life. 10. Psychological observations of a man's capacity for retrospectively supplying a whole series of supposedly free reason for something that has been done confirm the assumption that man's consciousness of freedom in the commission of a certain kind of action is erroneous. Leo Tolstoy. In the passage, what does the term retrospectively mean? A. Defensively. B. To do over. C. In hindsight. D. To go backward. Exam prep answers. 1. The correct answer is B. Current housing policies are not sufficiently fair and effective enough to alleviate homelessness. Although government policies are not doing anything significant to help the homeless, the government does not make people homeless, therefore, answer A is incorrect. Although it is true that society needs to be more tolerant of the plight of the homeless, that is not the focus of the article, therefore, answer C is incorrect. The homeless have all the same liberties that you and I do, however, their plight keeps them from fully exercising their basic rights. Therefore, answer D is incorrect. 2. The correct answer is D. As stated in the passage, the new homesteaders are not young and idealistic, therefore, answer A is incorrect. While the homesteaders have spent much time as adults in the country, the article does not say that they were raised in the country, therefore, answer B is incorrect. The article clearly states that the homesteaders are well educated, therefore, answer C is incorrect. 3. The correct answer is A. The passage states that labor in second world countries is cheaper than in the United States. The same machinery and technology for manufacturing is available to both sides, therefore, answer B is incorrect. Both sides can achieve the same product quality, so answer C is incorrect. The ability of workers from both sides is the same, so answer D is also incorrect. 4. The correct answer is B. The framers of the Constitution included the First Amendment to control Congress's authority over the individual states. According to the passage, the intent of the First Amendment was not to guarantee unlimited, uncontrolled freedom of expression for the American people. Therefore, answer A is incorrect. The First Amendment was not written to endorse a free press, so answer C is incorrect. The First Amendment was to limit Congress's power. Therefore, answer D is incorrect. 5. The correct answer is C. Details in the story pull together to give the impression that the girl had been sick in her room for a long time. The passage says nothing about punishment, therefore, answer A is incorrect. The flowers, cards, and weakness in her legs do not indicate a slight cold. Therefore, answer B is incorrect. From the passage, it is clear that she wants to play with the other children. Therefore, answer D is incorrect. 6. The correct answer is C. A design is a particular purpose or intent. It does not mean a desire, so answer A is incorrect. Nor does it mean a way of living, therefore, answer B is incorrect. Although a design can mean an artistic pattern, the context does not support this interpretation, therefore, answer D is incorrect. 7. The correct answer is C. He states, to live so sturdily and Spartan-like or sparsely. Because he did desire to live deliberately, to live deep, and to reduce life to its lowest terms, choices A, B, and D are incorrect. 8. The correct answer is B. That Cisco source code was stolen is the point of the story. That Cisco equipment and source code run the internet is information that adds to the main point. Therefore, answer A is incorrect. Choices C and D are valid information, but simply contribute to information about the source code and, therefore, are incorrect choices. 9. The correct answer is D. The point is that not even poverty can suppress the personal pride and youthful zeal of the young. The passage describes the physiques of the boys as being muscular and the girls as being slender, but not all ghetto students are so built. The description applies more toward the pride and grace with which the students carry themselves than their physiques, therefore, answer A is incorrect. That students dress well does not mean that they are pretending that they are not poverty-stricken, but that they dress with pride and care, therefore, answer B is incorrect. Although the passage does state that the girls were bold colors, it is not a main point that you should infer, therefore, answer C is incorrect. 10. The correct answer is C. To look at a situation retrospectively is to look at it in hindsight, or after it has already happened. It doesn't mean defensively, so answer A is incorrect. Redo and reaccomplish mean to do over, therefore, answer B is incorrect. To retrace is to go backward, therefore, answer D is incorrect. Exam prep questions. 1. What are drawings of electrical circuits called? A. Sketches. B. Schematics. C. Currents. D. Transistors. 2. Which particles are responsible for the generation of an electrical flow? A. Electrons. B. Protons. C. Neutrons. D. Atoms. 3. What principle do you apply to determine voltage across a line? A. Newton's law. B. Kepler's law. C. Fleming's law. D. Ohm's law. 4. What is current? A. The amount of power consumption. B. The rate of the flow of electrons through a circuit. C. The ohms of an electrical transmission. D. The magnetic flow of a circuit. 5. Find the current of the circuit in the following figure. 12V. A. 2 ohms. B. 6 volts. C. 6 amps. D. 2 amps. 6. What is the most common source of DC voltage? A. A battery. B. A DC generator. C. An alternator. D. A sine wave. 7. Which of the following represents the wave? Eight. What is the most common frequency of AC power that you will see in the United States? A. 1/50 S or 50 Hz. B. 1/110 S or 110 Hz. C. 1/60 S or 60 Hz. D. 450 MHz. 9. In a circuit with a current of 2 amps and a resistance of 25 ohms, what is the voltage across the circuit? A. 50 volts. B. 110 volts. C. 50 farads. D. 110 Hz. 10. Calculate the power consumption of an appliance with a rating of 70 volts and 5 amps. A. 120 watts. B. 350 watts. C. 14 ohms. D. 114. 11. How are the batteries connected in the following figure? A. In series. B. In sequence. C. In series parallel. D. In parallel. 12. What is the cable insulation color for the hot wire in a 3-wire Romex cable? A. Bare. B. Green. C. Black. D. White. 13. What is the electronic component in the following figure? A. A capacitor. B. A transistor. C. A battery. D. A conductor. 14. What is the property of a conductor? A. Breaks the circuit path. B. Allows some electrons to move. C. Does not have many free electrons. D. Allows free electrons to move readily. 15. Fleming's left-hand rule helps you to determine what? A. Direction of the magnetic field. B. Magnetic poles of a conductor. C. Strength of the magnet. D. Voltage of a circuit. 16. How does inductance affect an AC circuit? A. It opposes current and magnetic field change. B. It increases the voltage. C. It increases the current. D. It has no effect. 17. Transformers can perform which of the following? A. Change an input voltage to one of a higher rating. B. Change an input voltage to one of a lower rating. C. Maintain the same voltage rating, but filter the input. D. All of the above. 18. What is the turn ratio on the following figure? A. 1:5. B. 140. C. 5:1. D. 1:1. 19. Assuming that your wiring is correctly rated, one of your circuit breakers keeps tripping every time you start your air compressor for more than 2 minutes. What might be the cause, and what is the solution? A. The air compressor draws too much current. Because it works most of the time, just place the breaker back into the on position and keep using it. B. The circuit breaker is faulty, replace it. C. You might have an electrical fault in the wiring or the compressor. Leave that circuit off until you track down the fault and correct it. D. The air compressor draws too much current, get a smaller one. 20. What is the best way to put out an electrical fire? A. Smother it with a blanket. B. Use your kitchen fire extinguisher. C. Use AC class extinguisher. D. Throw water on it. Exam prep answers. 1. The correct answer is B. Schematics are line drawings of electrical circuits and their components. A sketch is a hand-drawn rendering, current is a measurement in a circuit, and a transistor is an electronic component. Therefore, answers A, C, and D are incorrect. 2. The correct answer is A. Free electrons are the particles responsible for producing an electrical current. Protons and neutrons comprise the nucleus of an atom. Therefore, answers B, C, and D are incorrect. 3. The correct answer is D. You use Ohm's law to determine voltage across a line. Newton defined the law of gravity, Kepler was an early astronomer, and Fleming defined the rules of magnetism. Therefore, answers A, B, and C are incorrect. 4. The correct answer is B. Current is the rate of the flow of electrons and is measured in amps. Power consumption is voltage multiplied by current. Ohms measure resistance in a circuit, and magnetic flow indicates the north and south poles in a circuit. Therefore, answers A, C, and D are incorrect. 5. The correct answer is D. Because I, current, equals E, voltage, / R, resistance, then 12 divided by 6 is equal to 2 amps. 6 amps is an incorrect rate. Neither volts nor ohms are a measure of current. Therefore, answers A, B, and C are incorrect. 6. The correct answer is A. The most common source of DC power is batteries. Although a DC generator creates a DC voltage, it is not as common as a battery, so answer B is incorrect. An alternator puts out AC, so answer C is incorrect. A sine wave is a representation of an AC output, so answer D is also incorrect. 7. The correct answer is B. Alternating current generates a sine wave. Answer A is a square wave, C is a DC output from a battery, and D is a bell curve. Therefore, answers A, C, and D are incorrect. 8. The correct answer is C. Although other countries use different frequencies, the United States uses 1/60 S or 60 Hz power. Answers A and B are incorrect frequencies, and answer C is a common speed for home computer processors. 9. The correct answer is A. The formula for finding voltage is V equals I times Z, or E equals I times R, and 2 times 25 equals 50. 110 volts is not the correct result from this formula, so answer B is incorrect. Neither farads nor hertz are a measurement of voltage. Therefore, answers C and D are also incorrect. 10. The correct answer is B. The formula for solving power consumption is P equals E times I, or P equals V times I, and 70 times 5 is equal to 350. Answer A indicates the wrong power consumption. Answer C is the result of the formula for resistance, R equals E/I, and answer D is a turns ratio. 11. The correct answer is D. The batteries are connected in parallel. Answers A, B, and C do not describe the correct connection pattern and are, therefore, incorrect. 12. The correct answer is C. In the United States, black is always the hot wire. Bare and green wires are ground, and white is neutral. Therefore, answers A, B, and D are incorrect. 13. The correct answer is A. The diagram shows the schematic. The correct 13. The correct answer is A. The 13. The correct answer is A. The diagram shows the schematic symbol for a capacitor. Answers B, C, and D are other components and are incorrect. 14. The correct answer is D. A conductor's properties allow electrons to move freely, thus enabling the transmission of a current. A switch breaks the circuit, as does a capacitor in a DC circuit. A semiconductor allows the movement of some electrons, and an insulator does not have many free electrons. Therefore, answers A, B, and C are incorrect. 15. The correct answer is B. The left-hand rule helps you determine the magnetic poles of a conductor and, by extension, the direction of current flow. The right-hand rule shows you the direction of the magnetic field, so answer A is incorrect. Answers C and D have nothing to do with the left-hand rule, so they are also incorrect. 16. The correct answer is A. Inductance in an AC circuit opposes both the current change and the magnetic field change that stems from the current change. Transformers increase voltage, and transistors can increase both the voltage and current. Inductance does have an effect on AC circuits. Therefore, answers B, C, and D are incorrect. 17. The correct answer is D. Transformers allow you to step up, step down, and filter input voltage. 18. The correct answer is A. The turns ratio is 1:5, according to the formula NP/NS or NP/NS, so if NP equals 20 and NS equals 100, then 20/100 equals 1/5 or 1:5. 19. The correct answer is C. You most likely have an electrical fault somewhere in the path. Find it and fix it to prevent a possible fire or fatal electrical shock. Because the compressor works at first, this indicates that when the current through the line generates heat in the wire, the electrical path creates a short. Resetting the breaker does not fix the problem, therefore, answer A is incorrect. The fact that the breaker does not immediately trip indicates electrical feedback or overload in the circuit. It is an indicator of a problem, and replacing the breaker won't fix it. Therefore, answer B is incorrect. Getting a compressor with a smaller draw doesn't solve the problem, it masks it. The reason a smaller compressor might work without tripping the breaker is that a smaller compressor presents a smaller load on the circuit. Therefore, it won't generate as much heat as fast as the larger compressor. Therefore, answer D is incorrect, and you still have an electrical problem. Fix it. 20. The correct answer is C. Use a C-class extinguisher on the fire. It is CO. 2. Based, not water-based, and is non-conductive. Answer B is incorrect because most kitchen extinguishers are for grease and oil fires, so you shouldn't use them. Answer A is incorrect because placing a blanket on the fire also means placing yourself close to a live electrical charge. Water is highly conductive, and throwing water on an electrical fire will get you killed. Therefore, answer D is incorrect. Exam prep questions.